Today is Wednesday, November 18th. What to know today about new plans to bring home U.S. troops from the Middle East, but also why not everyone is happy about it, and why President Trump just fired a top cybersecurity official. Plus, it's the first FDA-approved coronavirus test you can use completely at home. Amazon shakes up the pharmacy industry with its latest launch, and the NBA holds its very first virtual draft. We'll tell you what to watch for. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. President Trump ordered the Pentagon to bring a couple thousand more American troops home from Afghanistan and Iraq. And now the Pentagon announced it's happening by January 15th. There are currently about 4,500 troops in Afghanistan and 3,000 in Iraq. This new directive will bring troop levels down to just 2,500 in each country. The White House National Security Advisor said the decision fulfilled Trump's campaign promise to bring an end to what he called America's endless wars. And a top senior defense official told reporters the 2,500 troops can accomplish everything they've been doing with thousands more. But not everyone is on board with the decision. Reuters reports some senior lawmakers from both parties worry it could undermine security in the Middle East and hurt fragile peace talks with the Taliban. They say if troops left now before the Taliban agrees to America's terms and lowers violence, the U.S. would have nothing left to negotiate. In fact, former Defense Secretary Mark Esper, who was just fired last week, was against bringing more troops home unless conditions in Afghanistan improved first. But others say it's okay as long as the drawdown is responsibly and carefully executed. Reuters reports the exact detailed plans have not yet been finalized. President Trump fired the top U.S. cybersecurity official at the Department of Homeland Security. Krebs oversaw efforts to safeguard the presidential election. This firing comes about a week after Krebs called the 2020 election the most secure election in American history. Trump tweeted about his decision, accusing Krebs of making a highly inaccurate statement when he rejected claims of widespread voter fraud. Trump once again claimed voting machines changed votes and more, though there hasn't been any evidence of that yet. Krebs led the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, also known as the CISA, for the last 2 years. But now, he's out. Krebs sent out his own tweet saying, quote, honored to serve, we did it right. All right, we have a quick update about the flurry of lawsuits the Trump team filed over election results in battleground states. You might remember at first, a court order sided with the Trump campaign who had argued poll watchers were not allowed access in Philadelphia because they had to stay at least 15 feet away from vote counters. So the judge ordered they could move up to 6 feet away instead. Well, not anymore. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court just reversed that lower court's decision and ruled Pennsylvania law gives local officials leeway to decide the rules themselves. In Philadelphia, a local board said it made the rules to protect the security and privacy of ballots while also keeping employees safe during a pandemic. Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, argues it was all an attempt to cover up voter fraud, though again, state election officials say there's no proof of that. Either way, it doesn't impact the results of the election. Meanwhile, President-elect Biden is getting more of his core team in place. He's now announced 9 new members of his White House staff. They're a mix of people who have been with him for years and some new faces to the team. Biden said he's, quote, building an administration that looks like America. For the second time in 2 weeks, people in Central America are recovering from a major hurricane. Iota slammed into Nicaragua, just 15 miles from where Hurricane Eta made landfall. Hurricane Iota has since weakened and moved into Honduras. But the threat is not over. The National Hurricane Center says it could still cause deadly landslides and flooding, with Honduras and El Salvador facing the brunt of the storm now. Already 6 people have died. Tens of thousands of people had to move into shelters, joining thousands more who lost their home during Eta. Aid organizations are determined to provide shelter, food, and medical care to those who need it most. If you want to help, there are several reputable charities accepting donations in response to this disaster. We posted links to a few of them in our episode notes, like Americares, Heart to Heart, and Project Hope. But for the first time, the FDA gave the emergency green light to a totally at-home coronavirus test. It requires a prescription from your doctor, but from there, it's supposed to be pretty easy. You'll have to do the nasal swab yourself, then within about a half an hour, you'll have results back. A handful of other at-home tests have already been cleared by the FDA, but those still have to be sent off to a lab for results. This one does not require the lab's help. It's meant to be more convenient and timely so you can quarantine right away if your test comes back positive. Either way, the federal government says you should let a healthcare provider know your results so they can keep track of how the virus is spreading. One more thing, some doctors have raised concerns about how accurate this test is, But the manufacturer, Lucira, says this test should be able to catch 94% of the infections found by a more traditional PCR test. And this one is supposed to be more affordable as well, with an expected cost of $50 or less. All right, we have much more news coming up, but first, this episode is brought to you by Fitbod. Fitbod is a smart fitness app that learns about your abilities more and more with each of your workouts and plans exercises designed to maximize your results. No more wondering what workout you should be doing today or how to switch it up. I like that Fitbod always cycles new exercises into the mix to keep workouts fun and fresh. And you can use it anywhere, whether you're at home, at the gym, or on the road. I've created 2 setups that I can easily switch between on the app, one using just my body weight and one using my at-home equipment. But if you prefer going to the gym, it can incorporate all of that equipment as well. Fitbod workouts are balanced to give you results while also avoiding overworking the same muscles, and it's super easy to use. Plus, it's way more affordable than personalized training in person. So get a personalized fitness plan that helps you work out smarter at fitbod.me/newsworthy. Try Fitbod for free for 1 whole month when you sign up today at fitbod.me/newsworthy. That's 1 free month when you sign up at fitbod.me/newsworthy. Now back to the news. The CEOs of Twitter and Facebook told lawmakers they did a better job fending off election interference this time around than they did in 2016. Both Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg and Twitter's Jack Dorsey faced some tough questions from both sides of the aisle. They appeared by video in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee yesterday for more than 2 hours. They said they made progress in blocking or reducing misleading information, but lawmakers seemed unconvinced. Many Republicans once again criticized the platforms for censoring conservative speech, but Dorsey and Zuckerberg both said they do not have a different approach for Democrats or Republicans. Meanwhile, most Democrats once again argued platforms weren't doing enough to stop misinformation. Zuckerberg and Dorsey pointed to what they have done, like adding warnings and labels to misleading posts. For example, Facebook said it had third-party fact-checkers flag more than 150 million pieces of misleading content. Expect more criticism from lawmakers, but both CEOs said they're open to working with Congress to figure out what future regulations should look like. Speaking of Twitter, you may notice a new feature in your app called Fleets. The name is because they're fleeting and will disappear after 24 hours. They look and act almost exactly like Instagram stories, with the user's circle picture at the top of the app that you click on to see their message, photo, or video as a fleet. And people will be able to respond via direct message as well. You can also share a regular tweet as a fleet. But you cannot, however, retweet or like them. The social network has already been testing fleets in countries like Brazil and India, but now it's available worldwide, including here in the U.S. Amazon has officially made its biggest move yet into the pharmacy space. It's opened an online drugstore called Amazon Pharmacy, meaning people can start ordering their prescriptions through the online retailer and they'll be delivered within a few days. The company will offer common medications from pills to creams to even insulin, which has to be refrigerated. It won't, however, ship drugs that could be abused, like opioids. Amazon says people can sign up for the new pharmacy on its website and have their doctor send prescriptions there. Most insurance will be accepted, and if Prime members aren't insured, they'll get a discount on most meds. Amazon Pharmacy is now available in all states except Hawaii, Illinois, Kentucky, Louisiana, and Minnesota, but the company plans to add those 5 states in the coming year. If this sounds familiar, it's because Amazon has been working on its pharmacy plans for years. It offers new competition in the space now, and already pharmacy stocks are feeling it. CVS, Walgreens, and Rite Aid shares all fell yesterday after the news. HBO Max has finally come to Amazon Fire TV. Even though the new streaming service, HBO Max, launched 6 months ago, it ended up in a battle with Amazon Fire TV that delayed its rollout on the platform and made it tough for some HBO customers to know where or how to watch HBO Max. That's now in the past, though. The Verge reports people can now load HBO Max on their Amazon Fire streaming services like smart TVs and tablets. But at least for now, HBO Max is still unavailable on the Roku platform. The NBA draft is finally happening tonight. It was supposed to be in June to a bunch of fanfare, but of course the pandemic threw a wrench in those plans. So now it's on tap for tonight and will be held virtually for the first time ever. This means players will likely be at home, just like the rest of us, waiting for their name to be called. The Minnesota Timberwolves will get the first overall pick, followed by the Golden State Warriors and Charlotte Hornets. CBS Sports reports LaMelo Ball is expected to be one of the top picks, if not the top pick. Other top contenders include center James Wiseman and guard Anthony Edwards. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. And that's it for the main news today, but now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. And today we're talking about a new proposal to tax people who are working from home. We'll tell you arguments for and against it. But first, thanks to our sponsor, BetterHelp. I know this has been a stressful year, but you still deserve to be as happy as possible, to achieve your goals and to be your best self. And I know one great way to do that is through therapy. I think of it as going to the gym, but for your mental health. And BetterHelp makes it easy. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. It's convenient. You can start communicating in under 24 hours, and it's confidential. You always connect in a safe and private online environment. This is not self-help, and it's not a crisis line. This is professional counseling where you can send your counselor a message anytime, plus schedule weekly video or phone sessions. So I want you to start living a happier life today. And as a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/newsworthy. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, go to BetterHelp, that's help, H-E-L-P, betterhelp.com/newsworthy. And now back to Work Wednesday. Researchers at Deutsche Bank argue remote workers should pay an extra 5% in taxes because they have the privilege of doing their job remotely. And they say remote workers contribute less to the economy because they don't spend on things like a daily commute, work clothes, or eating out for lunch. So this could be their way of chipping in. These days, that would affect a lot of us, since millions of people have shifted to remote work because of COVID-19, and CNBC reports more than half of the U.S. workforce has worked from home this year. Researchers say this is a good idea because the new tax revenue could then go to grants to help out low-income workers who cannot work remotely and are, in effect, putting their health at risk to do their job. But the idea definitely has its critics as well. Some say whether or not people want to spend their money out or stay in is a personal choice, so people shouldn't be penalized for not spending money on business lunches or dry cleaning, for example. And an economist tells Axios this would be a, quote, practical minefield because a lot of people would misreport or distort their work status to avoid paying up. But remember, this new tax is just an idea from researchers at a bank, not government officials, so it's not actually happening anytime soon. All right, thank you so much for listening today and every day. We'll catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.